Hey there fellow gamers and cocktail enthusiasts, Ben here and welcome to another Castles and Cocktails recipe video. So it's been quite a while since I finished my playthrough of a really cool newer Sonic game called Sonic Superstars. I actually really loved this. It wasn't as notably difficult as some of the other games in the series, especially the 2D ones have been. And I thought it was a really great sort of entry-level Sonic game for the newer generation. So in this game, you get the choice of playing between Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy Rose, and eventually another sort of secret character you unlock towards the end. And I found it really fun to just be able to pick and choose your playstyle in that way. Now there are certain levels where you have to use certain characters, but for the most part it's pretty much fairly free and just go, have fun. Now one of the characters I actually didn't use a whole heck of a lot, but once I did in the level you're supposed to, I really enjoyed playing that character, and that was Amy Rose. I've never actually played a Sonic game where Amy's been a playable character. I know there's some other ones, but this is the first time I really got to play her, and it was a very, very fun experience for sure. So my initial thought for the Sonic Superstars drink was going to be a layered shot with a color for each of the individual characters. Couldn't quite manage to get that right, so this is going to be the Amy Rose cocktail. For this drink, you're going to want a strainer and shaker with ice, of course. Going to need a bar spoon and a measuring device of some kind. I've got my Japanese jigger today. Ingredient-wise, it's simple but somewhat obscure. To start things out, you're going to want your choice of gin. I've got some Bombay London Dry here. It's one of my absolute favorites. You're going to want some grenadine, preferably homemade. We're going to be using some Peychaud's bitters. These have a really nice earthy herbal quality to them with a just hint of anise. And probably the weirdest one is the Fever Tree Sparkling Grapefruit. Now this particular stuff I've let sit out for a while, so there's very little carbonation left. I didn't want to go for pure grapefruit juice, so this is a lot less in terms of the sour and a little bit more closer to the sweet. You're also going to want 2 lime wedges, one to put in the drink, the other to garnish with. So let's get started. So we are starting things off with 2 ounces of our London Dry Gin. As always, metric conversions are in the description box below for my international viewers. You want just a simple dash of the Peychaud's bitters, roughly a bar spoon's worth of your grenadine, and take one of your lime wedges and squeeze that in. Now, while I did let most of the carbonation come out of this, I'm not going to shake it regardless because I don't want a crazy mess in case it decides to pop back up on me a little bit. So for this base, we're just going to go ahead and shake. Now into a very well-chilled cocktail glass. I'm going to go ahead and strain that down. And we're going to top it with the Sparkling Grapefruit, or not quite sparkling anymore. Go ahead and garnish that with your lime wedge. And that is the Amy Rose. So, there's our Amy Rose cocktail. Let's go ahead and give it a taste. It's very simple and very smooth, but you get these interesting little waves of all of the flavor components. Because there's not a ton of lime juice in here, it's not overly sour, but the grenadine and the Peychaud's also cut through the sour of the grapefruit juice, so it's just sort of more of a flavor component than anything else. Now, if you didn't end up letting your sparkling grapefruit get more flat and used it more in its natural fizzy state, this would obviously have a little bit more of an airy quality to it as well. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's very sweet up front, but it's just sort of like a smooth sweetness up front. You get the sort of that star anise flavor from the Peychaud's sort of in the mid palate. In the back end, you get more of the gin and just a hint, the tiniest little hint of that sweet sort of sour grenadine mix. Yeah, the back end is a lot more the more juniper sense of the gin, but the Peychaud's actually kind of ride all the way through it a little bit more. If that isn't quite your flavor profile, you're welcome to switch it out for another type of bitters, but it will change the drink quite considerably. And of course, if it's not sour enough for you, the extra garnish always helps as well. Now, if you can't get a hold of the sparkling grapefruit, one thing I would suggest would be taking something like a 7-Up or a Sprite and just mixing some grapefruit juice with that. And then from there, you know, that way it's kind of diluted down, but you're still getting the fizz. You can probably manage to substitute it that way. So that's going to do it for this Castles and Cocktails recipe video. If you happen to make the Amy Rose cocktail for yourself, let me know your thoughts on it in the description in the comments below, not the description box. In the description box, though, as always, you can find the recipe for every one of these cocktails. And be sure to check out my playthrough of Sonic Superstars on the Switch for pretty crazy swings in my mood, as usual, when I play games. That's going to do it for this recipe video, though. Thanks, guys, for watching. Keep on gaming, drink responsibly, and I will see you guys next time. I really got to play this through again. This was such a fun game.